Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from two verses, 29th and the 30th verses of the 17th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 29th verse, Tam Jighamsum Abhipretya Vihaya Nripalanchanam Tatpadamulam Shirasa Samagat Bhaya Vikvalaha. The meaning of this verse is, when the personality of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, he at once abandoned the dress of a king and under pressure of fear completely surrendered to him, bowing his head. So what is Kali Purusha's reaction to Parikshit Maharaj being ready to kill Kali Purusha, because Kali Purusha was harming an innocent cow and a bull? So Kali Purusha understood that he cannot face the king, the emperor Parikshit, and he at once gave up the dress of a king. He is actually not a king, he is dressed as a king for external show, and he completely surrendered to Parikshit Maharaj. That was the only way he could have saved his life, otherwise Parikshit would have killed him. So, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, the royal dress of the personality of Kali is artificial. The royal dress is suitable for a king or a kshatriya. But when a lower class man artificially dresses himself as a king, his real identity is disclosed by the challenge of a bona fide kshatriya like Maharaj Parikshit. So they don't have the courage, they don't have the mentality to sacrifice their life for a higher cause. That is meaning of lower class person, you see. No qualification, no training, no proper understanding. What is the duty of a ruler? Simply wants to enjoy power, enjoy some money, enjoy some facilities, exploit people, innocent people, because they are a little weak. They can't retaliate. So exploit them. This is not a kshatriya. So when a real kshatriya encounters such an impostor ruler, immediately the real kshatriya will kill him if he does not give up his false position. A real kshatriya never surrenders. This is the real quality of a kshatriya. A kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of a rival kshatriya, he accepts the challenge of a rival kshatriya and he fights either to die or to win. All such battles between kshatriyas, real kshatriyas, is decisive. Just like in the battle of Kurukshetra, Duryodhana challenged the Pandavas, if you want your kingdom, you fight and take. So when the battle happened, then Pandavas completely destroyed all the Kauravas. 100 sons of Dhritarashtra were all killed. Because that is the way of Kshatriya, that is the Kshatriya spirit. Because Duryodhana was challenging him. Surrender is unknown to a real Kshatriya. In the age of Kali, there are so many pretenders dressed and posed like administrators or executive heads, but their real identity is disclosed when they are challenged by a real Kshatriya. See, the Kali Yuga, the difficulty is there are no real Kshatriyas. Even in our own country, India, as long as there were Rajputs, Marathas, the real Kshatriyas, different names in different parts of the country. In Rajasthan, they were called Rajputs. In Maharashtra, they were called Marathas. But when the real Kshatriya spirit was there, they could face the powerful Mughal army, powerful British rulers. They could, British army, they could face and defeat them. But when the number of such real Kshatriyas reduced against the might of the British army, English army, or even the Mughal army, against their might, then lack of real Kshatriyas, that was the cause of the foreign rule in this country. Otherwise, as long as there were real Kshatriyas, there was no possibility of anybody else ruling us. The Kshatriyas would rule perfectly. Therefore, when the artificially dressed personality of Kali saw that to fight Maharaj Parikshit was beyond his ability, he bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royal dress. Kali Purusha, because he wanted to save his life, he simply surrendered. And this surrender is the reason why Parikshit Maharaj pardoned this Kali Purusha and even rewarded him because he submitted to Parikshit Maharaj. And we will hear that. The 30th verse. Patitam padayor viraha kripaya deenavatsalaha sharanyo navadhi shlokya ahachedam hasanniva. The meaning of this 30th verse is, Maharaj Parikshit was qualified to accept surrender and worthy of being sung in history, did not kill the poor surrendered and fallen Kali, but smiled compassionately, for he was kind to the poor. Poor-hearted Kali Purusha. Maharaj Parikshit showed compassion. Because he is having that quality as a trained Kshatriya. As a trained Kshatriya, he's got that quality of compassion for the poor. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, even an ordinary Kshatriya does not kill a surrendered person. This is Kshatriya code of conduct, or Kshatriya's behavior, nature. Even anybody surrenders, that's the, just like Bhishma Deva in the example in Mahabharata. When Bhishma was attacking Arjuna and Arjuna's life was in danger, Krishna, who was Arjuna's chariot driver, Krishna wanted to protect Arjuna at all costs. So when he saw Arjuna's life is in danger, Krishna broke his promise in order to protect Arjuna. What did Krishna do? Krishna himself took a wheel of a chariot and went to attack Bhishma. If Krishna goes to attack Bhishma, what is hope for Bhishma to survive? But Bhishma, being a devotee of Krishna, he simply surrendered to Krishna. My dear Lord, what better way for me to quit this body than by dying at your hands? So Bhishma was a devotee. So he knew being killed by Krishna is no ordinary killing. It is actually a transcendental act of the Lord. One immediately becomes liberated and purified. So Bhishma knew this, so he surrendered. Moment Bhishma surrendered, Krishna did not attack Bhishma further. No, Kshatriya will not kill a surrendered soul. Never. So, in this way, any Kshatriya who follows the code of conduct, Kshatriya means is having the qualification. So, he will never kill a surrendered person. And then Prabhupada says, what to speak of Maharaj Parikshit, who was by nature compassionate and kind to the poor. Maharaj Parikshit certainly would pardon and show compassion to a surrendered soul, even if that surrendered soul was somebody who was a miscreant. So Parikshit Maharaj was smiling. Why was he smiling? Because the artificially dressed Kali had disclosed his identity as a lower class man. You see, when he gave up the dress, when Kali Purusha gave up the dress, he revealed to Maharaj Parikshit, yes, I am not a qualified Kshatriya, I am dressed like a Kshatriya, but I don't have the qualification. I don't have the courage to face another rival Kshatriya. I don't have the courage. I simply want to pose to exploit innocent people, to harm innocent people. But actually I don't have the qualification, I don't have the courage. So he admitted in front of Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit was thinking how ironic it is that although no one was saved from his sharp sword when he desired to kill, the poor lower class Kali was spared by his timely surrender. Kali Purusha surrendered just before Parikshit Maharaj was about to kill him. So Kali Purusha was spared because that's a code of conduct for a Kshatriya. And it's ironical because Kali is meant for spreading irreligion. Kali is meant for spreading irreligion. Therefore, this entire Bhagavatam is important. That Kali was spared by Maharaj Parikshit. And therefore, we are facing the influence of Kali Yuga is to spread irreligion, is to make people irreligious by its influence. Maharaj Parikshit's glory and kindness are therefore sung in history. He was ideal Kshatriya and is always glorified as the kind and principled Kshatriya who ruled the world. He was a kind and compassionate emperor, fully worthy of accepting surrender even from his enemy. What to speak of others? Even from the enemy, Parikshit Maharaj, as an ideal Kshatriya, will accept surrender because he is fully qualified to accept a surrender. He will never exploit if somebody surrenders. Thus, the personality of Kali was saved by the will of providence. This is a term that is used many times in the scriptures. Will of providence. Will of providence means it's the higher arrangement of the Supreme Lord, who in the background is always active in the material world, acting through the material nature, not directly, but ultimately the will of the Supreme Lord prevails. Because in the age of Kali, there are people who want to enjoy material happiness through unfair means, through breaking religious principles. At any cost they want to enjoy, even at the cost of breaking religious principles. And people openly say, I don't care for hell. You'll be punished, you'll have to go to hell if you commit grievous sinful activities. They say, we don't care. Or we don't believe there is something called hell. Just because somebody doesn't believe it does it mean that they are not going to suffer? So this is the situation in Kali Yuga. So Krishna gives them a chance. In the material world, through the material nature, Krishna gives such people a chance. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.